This is Constantine from Carcerous, and you're listening to the Death Blow podcast.
Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Death Blow Podcast. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe to the channel and drop a like. It helps the channel grow more than you know. You can also find on Spotify and Apple Podcast Death Blow Podcast if you prefer to listen on the go, and follow on Instagram, Facebook and TikTok where I post extra content, previews and a whole lot more. But enough of that, because today I've got something absolutely crushing for you. Today we are talking about a band coming from a place you might not have expected, Sofia, Bulgaria. They go by the name Carcerous, and even though they only formed in 2023, what they are already putting out is seriously impressive. The band was founded by Ivan Kozarev and Konstantin Milev, and their sound blends death metal with other subgenres like doom, thrash and black metal. Right now, I will leave you with the rest of the interview. So welcome to Death Blow Podcast, guys. Carcerous band, Konstantin, and I'm not able to read because it's in Cyrillic, sorry.
Ivan
Oh,
Kozarev.
Ivan, whatever.
Okay, thank you so much. So we are here with Konstantin and Ivan from Bulgaria, and let's start the interview with Cancerous Band. So, how did you meet, guys, and why did you choose the name Carcerous?
So we met back in, 2023? I was the drummer for Ivan's former band, which is how we got introduced to each other. And through writing new music for that band, we discovered we could work together quite well, and we liked it quite a lot. And so we eventually moved on to form Carcerous. As for the name Carcerous, it's a non-existent word. I came up with it based on how it sounded. I wanted to invoke like ideas of other bands with names sounding around cancerous, but I don't fuck with cancer. I'm terrified of it. So I found like an alternative, and I was sure that nobody else in the world had ever used that name. So it was now fully original and our own. So we settled on that.
So tell me about this new record called Doomsday Factory. What is it about, and what can you tell me about it?
Well, we can tell you a lot of things, I'm sure. But for us, it was the next logical step as a band. Like, we made 11 tracks that formed the full album, and it was really an adventure.
The album is, as Ivan said, actually, it's the logical next step. It was the logical continuation to our work. It was our first foray into more extreme territory, provided that our first record was less extreme than that, because of its lineage and its link to our previous band. And Doomsday Factory was when we finally decided that, screw it, we're going full on. And we're really happy with the result.
And you guys come from Bulgaria. You are the first band I've interviewed from Bulgaria. What kind of country is it? Is there a metal scene there? How can you describe it?
There is quite the active metal scene. It's mostly, I feel like, focused around like rock music. There is metal, of course, but extreme metal is a little bit more rare. Still, though, the scene is full with bands. There are all kinds of people playing the music. There have been extreme metal bands that have been active like since the very late 80s, very early 90s. So in general, the scene is quite rich, but as far as I can tell, there are very few Bulgarian acts that have ever made it onto the international scene, which is most likely why you don't really hear about us all that much.
Yeah, because I never heard the very Bulgarian bands. So maybe it's due to, I don't know, maybe the language, because maybe certain Bulgarian bands prefer to speak with their natural language because it's more natural for them, probably. Or it was because they don't feel English like their own language. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I know for sure that a lot of bands prefer to sing in Bulgarian, but I think that in general it's just I don't know, somehow we have never made it into the big time. Maybe it's access to labels, maybe it's access to markets, maybe it's just the language. I don't know. My personal take on that, and Ivan might have a different take, is that in general, Bulgarian bands tend to stay a little bit more on the safe side in terms of their music. So there are rarely like massive innovators musically, which is, I think, why no major trends were ever started in Bulgaria and like seeped outside the country's borders. And I think this is why there aren't all that many well-known bands. In fact, I know that there were at least a couple during like the 60s, 70s, and 80s that were famous outside Bulgaria, but they were like rock bands, like psychedelic rock, that kind of stuff.
What are the lyrics in the album about? I like the fact that in one song in particular, you explore the criminal mind. You highlight dark figures. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, it's the thing is we don't have only one song about that. Like Nothingness is about the criminal mind, but also maybe Fear the Night, of course, because it's for Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, a really famous world-known serial killer. But what's important here to say is that we don't represent this, but instead we just tell stories, and this is a fact for the whole album, of course.
Yeah, the
Or
whole album is more or
yeah,
less just a collection of stories. It's not concept, and it's never about endorsing or in any way being a proponent of what happens in the lyrics. Like, we have lyrics about religious persecution, we have lyrics about murderers, we have lyrics about like world famous conspiracies, and sometimes even like mythological features and figures. We're just telling stories, really, and we tell those stories because we feel they like fit the theme and like the sound of the music best. At least to me, it's always been really weird when even when jokingly a song's lyrics are like really positive and then the song is like absolutely monstrous.
Right now, as for the arrangements, my favorite song is Doomsday Factory, like the album title. It reminds me
Great.
of a mix between Behemoth and black metal bands in general, like the Norwegian scene. About the rest of the album, instead, do you find inspiration from other bands? Tell me more about these arrangements.
From my perspective, Doomsday Factory is my one of my like couple throwbacks to Ball Thrower, especially in the rhythm section in the drums, in the feel of the verses mostly. The other such song is A Horror Without Name. The two songs, to me at least, share quite a bit of resemblance. Outside of that, I think I quite consciously wanted to throw a bone to Behemoth in I Saw the Death of God. But outside of that, I don't believe I have personally gone for any specific band, like any reference or straight up influence.
yeah. When we create the song structures, it's natural, and in rare cases, we just want to repeat this or make that, like from a bridge to a chorus section. But
For the
yeah,
most part, I
it's
think we try to stray away from doing the same thing over and over. We really want to stay fresh. We really want to avoid being repetitive, which I personally feel is quite the big like pitfall for a bunch of bands right now.
Yeah, the key is to be original into the scene. So I think that it's quite interesting what you guys are doing, and even
Thank you.
about not only about lyrically, but even with the arrangements. I think that it's very important to be original and find certain similarities, but being original. So be yourself and find your path. So this is what is
Absolutely, yeah.
important.
Absolutely. To me as well. I mean, spot on.
yeah.
Yeah, do you play live, guys?
Yes, a lot.
what can you say more about what is your favorite show that you ever made, and how did you find in front of the public?
Hmm. We always wanted to play live. That was like, yeah, it was not the original intention of the project. It was started by me and Konstantin as just what did we call it? Over the
We
top
called it
black metal.
an online project. We called it an
Yeah, yeah,
over
yeah.
the top online project.
Yeah, but then with given circumstances, we just really wanted the band to become an active live band, so it just happened. And yeah, we had a lot of concerts during the past year and a half
15
or
months,
something.
let's say.
Yeah. And yeah, we were always an active band. We always tried to give our best to sound true to the work we have online, which is really something important for me, and not only for me. Like with many bands, you go to a concert and you can't recognize the songs. So yeah, we receive similar feedback from the crowd sometimes that we are when we play on stage, that the things sound really resemblant to the work that we have. And yeah.
My personal favorite concert, because that was part of the question, I love every concert where the audience is enthusiastic, of course, because that feeds us and we then feed back into them. But one of my favorite concerts was the first one that was like really well attended, which I think was on Halloween last year. And we had something like 250, 300 people show up, and quite a lot of them actually quite young folk. And it was quite impressive to us because we consciously create music that is, at least in my opinion, mostly resembling of the like mid 90s to mid 2000s, something like this in general. It's a bit old school now. But I was amazed by how well all the people there reacted. Like all the young people went crazy. They couldn't stop moshing. It was such an energetic show. And the fun bit was that we actually had a show the next evening, literally 24 hours later or something like that. And I was trying to conserve my energy so I could extend that into the next show. But then just seeing this massive response, I was like, no, I'm giving it all. I don't care how tomorrow's show goes. Luckily, both shows went really well, and the next show, albeit less attended than the first one, was still super cool. And yeah, those are probably two of my favorite shows in general.
I think that it's very awesome when you have 300 people that are moshing. I think for an artist is what really, really counts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The energy is just unmatched.
Yeah, and the Bulgarian scene is going strong.
Yeah, yeah. On that regard, like the Bulgarian audience has always been really passionate, and this is the thing that I think 99.9% of all the bands, especially foreign ones, that come to play in front of Bulgarian audience, note that that the audience is super enthusiastic, and a lot of them, of course, end up coming back multiple times.
So tell me about the album cover art.
The cover artwork is done by a friend of ours, a really great artist by the name of Yasin Stoilov. The guy does a lot of book illustrations, game design, game concept art. He has done film VFX, so quite the wide range of capabilities. And the topic of the artwork is literally his interpretation of the lyrics of your favorite song, Doomsday Factory. And because the song kind of refers to humanity's love for weapons and industriousness, it is why the artwork itself kind of reminisces of a factory, really, just interpreting the name. But it's super cool artwork, and we love it. It's really specific. It's his own thing and doesn't copy anything. So we love the fact that after everything else that is unique about our band, this piece of artwork is also unique.
And what are the band's future plans?
Hopefully, a record deal, um, and just to continue making music. It's really the thing to do for us.
Yeah, the first thing would be, and we're really, really hoping and working towards that, to get a record deal with a label, just so we could more sustainably reach a wider audience, especially one outside the borders of Bulgaria. And then I think that would give us the necessary, well, not that we are not motivated as is, but this would give us even more motivation to keep on doing what we are doing. In fact, we're already working on the next album. Like, we're trying to slow ourselves down because we're usually very productive and we're very quick to push out new songs. So this time we're trying to challenge ourselves to be a little bit slower, a little bit more paced out, and eventually this time also find a way to work with the label on the next set of music.
I wish you all the best about this, and to find a really cool label that would understand your music and support your music, and even
Thank
having
you.
a fan base in the future. You guys really, really deserve it, because I see the potential there during the arrangements, in the lyrics, everything. So very fantastic. When was the moment you told yourselves it was time to start a musical journey? Who wants to start first to answer?
Okay, yeah, for me as a musician, I don't know, like I had a lot of anger issues when I was young, like really, really young, and I'm not sure who, I think my grandpa, but someone gave me a guitar. So it was just the next logical thing to do to start going by myself to a guitar teacher. He was a really great guy, an old guy, an Yngwie Malmsteen fan, but I am not a solo guitarist. But still, like for 10, 11 years now, I've been a guitarist practicing a lot. And yeah, that was my journey. I started a band, two, three, and yeah, but Carcerous is my only band now.
For me, it's almost the polar opposite. So I started my musical journey at the age of 26. I always dreamed of being a drummer, and that came from, like, back in the very early 2000s. I heard Slipknot for the first time, and I was blown away by Joey Jordison's skill and just his output on the early couple of Slipknot records. But at the same time, I was equally as influenced by Corey Taylor's vocals. And so, to my mind, it was the coolest thing ever to be a drummer, and it was what I wanted. But I guess somewhere in the back of my mind, there was always the idea of, you maybe could also be a vocalist at some point. And so, like, in my early 20s, like late teens, early 20s, I guess I started discovering my own voice, but I never did anything with it. I guess I'm just lazy. And I just didn't have a lot of musicians around me to play with. And it could be intimidating if you are the only guy in the group that doesn't have any experience and doesn't know what he's doing. So that went nowhere. And then around the time I was 26, I finally picked up the drums, started playing drums. And that finally gave me the confidence to also move on and join bands. And I also started my own bands. And then in 2023, as I said, I joined Ivan's band in Kara as their next drummer. I think I was the second or third drummer that joined, something like that. And it was really cool. It gave me the reason to know Ivan and to work together. But it was a thrash metal band, and I'm not a huge thrash metal fan. So to me, it was kind of off. I wanted to do something else. And when starting Carcerous, I came against the next big problem, which was that, yeah, I fucking loved playing extreme metal, but I couldn't. Like, I really loved the idea of it, but I didn't have enough practice, enough skill, whatever. So I quickly had to figure out a way to stay in the band, so to speak, and not just be like a ghost writer, music writer, songwriter, something like that. And so this was the moment I figured, okay, maybe I can try again this whole vocal thing. And despite the fact that it was initially met with some doubt, I think ultimately I managed to convince everyone that I was worthwhile as a vocalist, and I could do the job of a frontman effectively.
Wow, pretty interesting histories, by the way.
Yeah.
I started even later to play electric guitar. I started when I was 20. So,
Nice.
and I started to sing and growl when I was 24 years old. So
Nice.
there is no particular age when you have to start. So
Yeah,
don't worry about
there's
that.
usually just this notion that, and it's a correct one, that the earlier you start, the more, like, the further you get, basically, because when you are younger, you have more spare time, you have more brain capacity, your body recovers more quickly and more easily from injury, which is really important for playing, especially extreme music.
What do you think about Satan as a figure?
Oh yeah, we are not Satanists. We sing a lot about Satan. It can be found like that subject in a lot of songs, one way or another. But yeah, for me personally, I think it's a really cool concept, and a lot of metal bands sing about it. But that's about it. Like, it gives you more attention, I believe.
For me, back when I was younger, I used to be quite the pious person. And then, as it usually happens, I got disillusioned with religion. But later on, as I got older, that joke where you're an atheist and then you grow old and you start praying to God to see the sun another day. So I guess, in a sense, that was my way of rediscovering that faith and religion are not the same thing. So for a very short bit, I thought of myself as a rebel enough to be like a Satanist in big quotation marks, but I never was, really. I never believed in anything such. In my own songs, or the songs that I write for Carcerous, I try to avoid satanic topics just because I think they're a little bit like a dead horse being beaten to death again. I think there are more interesting topics usually to write about. Still, though, sometimes it fits. And like in the case with songs like The Scourge Divine, for example, which are regarding Templar Knights, their whole mystery is about Satanism. It's how they were secretly Satanists. So I cannot tell the story that I need to tell without mentioning it. So, to recap, I am not a Satanist. I have never been one. I try to avoid cliches as much as possible, also including cliches regarding Satanism. And still, though, I think it's just at the very molecular level related to metal. So being a metalhead kind of brings that imagery about. And then another joke that I usually say is because I'm an architect in real life, I have a master's degree in architecture. If you follow some of the satanic lore, Lucifer is called the architect of the world. So I quite often joke that architects are all a little bit Satanist because of that.
And how do you see yourselves as a band in 10 years? How do you see yourself musically?
Hopefully more mature in all regards. Hopefully still writing music, and yeah, one can only dream that everything will go according to plan.
Hopefully successful, I would say. Hopefully still trying to be creative without getting wacky, because I think a lot of bands go wacky after a while. So I'd like if we weren't wacky. And most of all, I would like if in 10 years we were still around. So
I think that you said an important point when you said that certain bands, after a while, they just change too much from the previous albums to the latest albums. I think that it's a mistake too, what they do. But I think when the years are passing, it's even. I think that it's a natural process than
Yeah,
bands
absolutely.
change.
Experimentation in of its own is not a bad thing. This is why I use the word wacky, because just experimenting and changing is completely fine. I think that bands that stay too true to their own roots kind of get boring very quickly. Right now, I'm wearing a Hypocrisy T-shirt. They're one of the bands that changed quite a bit over the years, but they managed to kind of retain this balance between experimentation and their roots. So, if anything, I would like for us to be a band such as Hypocrisy. Like, yeah, they eventually discovered somewhat of a formula, I think, for their music, but they still change regularly, even now, 35, 40 years into their career. So, that's a definite goal.
Yeah, I love Hypocrisy as a band. They are
My
pretty
favorite
cool.
band has been for basically 20 years now. So, yeah.
Wow, wow. Peter is amazing as a vocalist and a guitarist. So
And a songwriter also.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I really like the quality of their music for what it is. It's, uh, in a way, it's the perfect combination for live play because it's not overly complex, it's not overly simple, but it's the type of music that can be like expressed really effectively live. It's not hard to achieve a perfect sound on stage. It's energetic enough without getting like non-plussing. So yeah, it's a really nice balance.
what positive advice could you give to emerging bands?
Don't stop. Just keep on going, whatever it costs. Like, if you want to do it, just do it. Because many bands quit, many good bands quit, and sometimes the reason is just not enough support or not enough belief in themselves. So just, yeah, that's my advice.
I would boil it down to stay original because originality is really what gets you across the ranks. Grow a thick skin because there will always be someone who hates on you just because you exist. And then three, just be persistent because it's really hard to make it into any sort of big time quickly, and that virtually never happens. Or at least I'm still to see an example in Bulgaria that made it quickly anywhere. But so long as you keep pushing, there's the hope that maybe one day you'll make it. So I don't know. It's a numbers game. Maybe you get lucky and it happens in your lifetime.
Yeah, totally. A book or film you would recommend to your listeners?
I'm also trying to figure out one that could relate to our music. I don't know. Movie. I think that if you're into like horror stories, but not necessarily like the how do you call those like the Saw thing. Not that. Mostly like if you're into, I guess like gothic horror. I think is what you can relate to our music. As for books, I have a rather particular taste in books. I'm a huge Terry Pratchett fan, so if you want to get my humor, I guess read Pratchett. It's always a good advice.
Yeah, for me, right now I am rewatching, like for the first time in years, the series Supernatural. Uh, it's maybe cringe, but it's a big inspiration for many, even rock and metal fans out there, I am sure, and musicians as well. Yeah, great series.
Say something to finish this interview, something that you want to say to the public?
Go listen to our shit. Make us famous. It's good.
Yeah.
We are super happy to be here. Thank you so much for having us. It is our pleasure. We'd like to come some other time to talk maybe about future releases or whatever. Deathblow is super cool. We were honored to be here. And yeah, again, we think that our music is good. So please give it a listen. Maybe you like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
All the
Bye.
best.
Yeah,
And that's a wrap on this episode of Death Blow Podcast. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. It genuinely makes a difference and helps to keep bringing you more extreme metal content like this. You can catch me on Spotify and Apple Podcasts too, so no excuses for missing an episode. And don't forget to follow on Instagram, Facebook and TikTok for extra content, updates and everything in between. Until next time, see you soon guys!